Welcome to this week's edition of the OCU Athletics Update. I'm Andrew Himes, and this week we're talking to Superstar Athlete of the Week, Kid Gomez, and wrestling coach, Archie Randall. Here on the OCU Athletics Update, we're talking to Superstar Athlete of the Week, Kid Gomez, a senior from Noble, Oklahoma, captured his 7th career Open Tournament title at the Missouri Valley Invitational. And how would you describe your wrestling style?
Mine is I'm a lot smaller than everyone I use, so everyone that wrestles me usually a lot bigger, so they're always muscular. So my style is more quick and slick, so I try to get them moving and try to get into scrambles, because when I get in scrambles, I'm usually pretty good because I can wrestle good usually from any position. So it's not really junky, it's just more real swift, quick, and more technical than overpowering.
Last season, you had the win that made the difference against Central Oklahoma. What was that experience like?
Well, we had an intermission between our duels, and when we went in intermission, stuff didn't go right. So a bunch of us didn't even think we were gonna win, and the seniors trying to pick everyone up and let's go. And then since it did come down to me, I was real nervous before I even knew I was gonna come down to me to wrestle. So Mike Brown had a huge win over Cody, which we didn't know he was going to go either way, and if he won, I knew I had a chance to win. So I was real nervous going in, didn't know really what to expect, so just went and wrestled. And when I went in, they told me I had to pin the kid. So I actually thought I had to pin the kid. So when I went out there, I was doing everything I could just to pin the kid instead of just wrestling. Then in the middle of the match, they switched the whole game plan because they found out if I teched the kid, we won the duel. So in the middle of the match, I switched game plans and just wrestled and wrestled and wrestled. Ended up winning. And when I won, it didn't really hit me until everyone came and congratulated me. 'Cause I wrestled the whole 7 minutes. I was all I could go. I was dead tired. And it was speechless because I was really, really close to the seniors. And it was their senior night. So I did it more for the team, and then for me, I could have just looked up, won the match, and oh well. But whenever I was tired and didn't really think I could do it, I looked over and seen all my whole team had my back, so it made me push that much harder. So when I won, it wasn't just for me, I did it for everyone else. So
Which one of your
awesome, but
Which one of your wins from this season stands out most to you?
I think it would be the one I got last Wednesday against Mo Bapp, which is the returning All-American. But not only was he returning All-American, he was the dude that beat me last year to put me on the backside, to keep me from All-Americaning. So getting a major over him tells me that I should have been, it's just me choking. I should have won. So that would be the biggest one because I just redeemed my loss.
So I understand that during a match in high school, you actually did a backflip during the action. Describe that for us.
Well, in high school, I was a completely kind of different wrestler than I am now. I did a lot more flashier stuff just because I like to be different. Not the normal wrestling. And we were at home one day just watching wrestling on TV, and my dad hollered at me. And I ran in there, and he was asked me if I think I could do it. It's I don't know. So we went to the wrestling room one day, and he just held my leg, and I just did a backflip because I always could do flips. And then I was wrestling in the finals, and I was up a lot, so if I made a mistake, it was okay. And just tried it, and I didn't really practice it, and it worked, so I started doing it.
What's your major here at OCU?
Kinesiology.
And what do you plan to do after college?
Either a physical trainer, physical therapy, or athletic trainer. I love wrestling, I would like to coach, but I don't want to do the whole teaching thing. I want to stay connected with sports, but.
All right, we've been talking to Superstar Athlete of the Week, Kid Gomez. You can keep up with the wrestling team on OCUsports.com.
There's a call to be answered. The spirit of competition is still alive inside. The desire still drives. The phrase student athlete has a great ring to it. Lasting friendships are ready to be made. You just want to keep playing. Game on. Learn more at naia.org.
Here on the OCU Athletics Update, we're talking to wrestling coach Archie Randall. The Stars will wrestle UCO this week, and the women's team will be off to the national championships this weekend. And, Coach, what is it going to take for your team to win yet another national championship with women's wrestling?
We're going to have the tournament itself has evolved so much in the last 5 or 6 years that it's a 3 or 4 team race. We're going to have some girls step up, perform. We're going to have some upsets. We're going to have some of the other teams upset some of the other girls. The race is tight. It's within 1 or 2 points between 3 teams. And then you got to throw in the factor that there's teams like Missouri Valley and Lindenwood and Jamestown. They're there for the same purpose. They're there to win matches and get All-Americans. So it's going to be a really interesting tournament this year.
You guys are going for your 6th consecutive national title of that tournament. What does that streak mean, and what goes into a streak like that?
Stress, lots of stress. It means a lot to the program that we continue our success. But once again, it's going to be up to those girls. They have to step up. There's 3 or 4 of them that have an opportunity to be national champions this year. They've suffered some losses during the season, but I think that our schedule, and as tough as we wrestle, that they got a good opportunity to do it. And I think you're going to see some surprises, and you're going to see some new faces as national champions this year.
You guys had a streak of about, 75 consecutive unbeaten duels that ended recently. What went into that just throughout the season, that kind of a grind, winning that many duels in a row?
I think it's a lot of pressure on them to stay undefeated for that long. We just wrestled. We just didn't wrestle at the potential we needed to. Plus, I think that the national duels I think I made a mistake. I tried to get extra bonus points. I moved some people around, and they feed off each other in a duel. And when you see a good girl lose a match, it's not supposed to lose a match. The second girl gets intimidated and doesn't wrestle well, then the rest of them start to think, uh-oh. And I probably shouldn't have moved Gar and Joey and left them where they're at, and we would have kept the momentum on our corner. Duels are about momentum. Duels are about getting a run, and that's the whole thing. They got to run. Simon Fraser got to run. They upset 2 of our girls in a row, and then we had to battle back through, which makes it tough. Then I had to make a change at the upper weights that caused us to lose a couple matches too. So, it's just part of the game.
Joey Miller and Emily Webster will be looking to defend their national titles. Who are some of the other individuals that we can look forward to?
You could probably, Christy Gar was a national runner-up last year. Depending on how she gets seats, she's got a good shot to get in the finals too. She's the only person who's wrestled Victoria Anthony from Simon Fraser close. She's wrestled her close. She's won a period against her. Bobo Delgado at 123. This will be her 2nd time down to that weight. She has the potential of beating everybody in the weight class. Audrey Morehouse is a returning runner-up. Where Simon Fraser moves Helen McCorliss makes a difference whether she'll be a national champion or not. That will put a difference into the seeding. Giltmacher is going to be wrestling at 143. Right now, she's only lost to 1 girl at 43, which she's got a good chance. It was a close match with her too. And then of course we got Brittany Roberts, who's always a mainstay. Now we're probably going to move her to a different weight class to give her a chance to be a national champion. Then Demi Strube at 55 has been coming on strong. She's had the best second half of the season I've seen any girl. She's going to be seated 2nd at the tournament. And then Heather O'Connor has the only win over the number 1 girl. She's lost to the number 4 girl, number 3 girl, number 4 girl. I don't know where she's ranked at now, but she's lost to her twice. But she has the only win against the number 1 girl. So we need to get in the finals. We need to get on that girl's side because we can beat the number 1 girl. It's all about matchups. Wrestling is a physical chess game. It's a chess game that's just physical. And so that's what has to happen with them.
Turning over to your men's team, you're 6-6 in duels this season. How would you assess the team's performance so far?
I think that we wrestled real well because our 6 losses are to OU for 1. We lost twice to the number 3 team, Great Falls, and we lost to them at the duels by 3 points. We should have beat them there. We just stumbled a little bit. We lost to the number 1 team in the nation, Grandview, which we were close to them too. We lost to Wartburg, which is the #1 team in Division III, and they're solid. They're the best. I think the only loss that we had that was a bad loss was Missouri Valley. We should have beat Missouri Valley. They're not that good. The other losses are credible losses, and what we try to do this year, because of the new rules for qualification in the NAI, is to try to get the best competition we can to prepare our kids for the national tournament, and it's worked. Last weekend at Missouri Valley, the Missouri Valley Invite, which is you only can bring 12 kids and blah, 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 and all kind of stuff like that. We lost to Maryville, which is a Division II team, by a couple of 2 or 3 points. We had 7 in the semis. So that it's paying off. They're wrestling well at this point right now.
You've got 9 individuals that are ranked on your team. Tell us about some of those individuals.
Kid, he should be moving up in the rankings. He's done real exceptional second half of the season of beating anybody that's beat him. He's on a roll right now. I don't know how many he's won in a row, 9 or 10 in a row now, and he looks really good. At 49, new face, Josh Stewart, who's been on the team for 3 years, senior. All of a sudden, he's performing well. He's won like, out of his last 12 duels, 12 matches, he's won 9. He's got a chance too. He's really tough on top. He's a cradler. And Mark Myers beat the #1 kid in the nation, and he's ranked 3 or 4 now, but he should be moving up too. He had a really good tournament this last weekend too. And then Zach Skates, freshman, struggling a little bit with changing. He's got to learn how to adapt to NAI wrestling. He's a D1 kid, and NAI wrestling is a lot more, more mat wrestling, and so he's got to adjust to that. 74, Tegan Franco just got eligible. Hasn't really wrestled any NAI guys. He's 9-1 against NAI guys right now. And he's still right now trying to get his feet underneath him. Mitchell Eichenhauer, this last weekend pinned the returning national champ at 97. He had a really good term, so he's looking good too. And Mike is a mainstay. Mikey always wrestles good. The other one who's really turned it around is Stanley Lattimore at heavyweight. He has really turned it around. He was 3-3 with Gephardt into the 3rd period when he got penalized for unsportsmanlike conduct or something like that. I don't know what he did. I couldn't figure it out. I just know they penalized him. But he's looking good. So we're looking good at about 7 or 8 weights right now. And that's really what you have to place in the top 3 at the national tournaments.
Local high school teams recently wrestled out at Quail Springs Mall, and your team went out to the Flamingo Hotel in the ballroom in Las Vegas. What does that kind of event do for the sport?
Oh, I think that the mall thing, I've always wanted to do that when I was a high school coach. I thought it was pretty fun. They're not the first team to do something like that. I think Muskogee had a tournament where they had it outside. They had a tournament outside in the air. It was, I don't know what he called it, but he had it outside. That's kind of, and I think you need to do those kind of things to promote the sport. You need to get some notoriety in it. Wrestling at the Desert Duels and the Flamingo and the Ballroom was a little different. It was pretty, and I like the packedness of it. It was pretty exciting. I think that they back-to-back is too much, though. We wrestle back-to-back, which is not pretty good, not good for a dual team. You have a bad duel and you kind of flat the next round. And I think they need to space a little bit, but it was pretty interesting. It was a lot of fun. We're going to go back to that. It was a lot of fun. It was a good thing.
Been talking to OCU wrestling coach Archie Randall. Stars will go for their 6th consecutive women's national title in wrestling, and you can keep up with the men's and women's teams on OCUsports.com. That's it for this week's edition of the OCU Athletics Update. Check back every week for all the latest in OCU sports.